Hi, this is National Master Coach Ba. Today we are going to learn about strong squares, weak squares, and about outposts. The strong squares or weak squares are the one we can control by the pawns, and it can be occupied with one of our own pieces. Strong squares are significant if they are close to where the action is going on, usually on a fifth rank, on a fourth rank, or on a third rank or sixth rank. White gains in this position gains control over d5 square after white plays c4. So white is controlling d5 square and weakening that square. So this is also weak square for black pieces because black cannot control that square with a pawn. Let's see another example. In this position, white's turn. White can create a weak square on d5 by first taking the bishop. Taking the bishop is very important in order to lure the pawn to d6, because the pawn on c7 was the one who could still control d5 square after moving the knight away and playing c6. That's why we first capture the knight, the bishop, and after we capture the knight, now we can control that square, its outpost actually, because we can bring the knight to d5, and there is no way for black to chase this knight away by using his pawns. So in this position, white's position is strategically almost winning. Let's see next example. In this position, black's turn. Here we have all pieces are like everything is even. We have same amount of pieces. The only difference is that black has knight and white has bishop. So we also have a weak square on d4. So the square is weak for white and very strong square for black pieces. In this position, black just need to find a road for a knight to get on d4. We can do it in 3 moves by playing knight to c5, then to e6, and then to d4. Notice when we play knight c5, we are attacking on d3. They have to defend it with rook or bishop, doesn't matter. We then play knight to e6. Now, let's say bishop attacks our knight, we just go knight to d4. After 3 moves, we see the position of the black improved a lot, especially after knight is occupying this outpost square. So white has strategically almost winning situation. Let's see next example. In this position, white's turn. So far, we don't have any weak square or strong square yet, but we can create one. In this position, white is trying to get the d5 square. He wants to control that d5 square and then jump with the knight to d5. Right now, it's not safe because of the black pawn on c6. So white has a very nice move in order to try to lure the pawn or exchange the pawn after playing b5. So white is offering pawn exchange. In this position, capturing would be actually not a good idea because white would take that with a pawn in order to open up the file. So now, besides controlling the weak d5 square, we also have a play against this backward pawn on a7. So here white's position is way better. If he doesn't take, and if he plays, let's say c5, then we still can get control over d5. We're actually controlling that d5 square with our pawns. We just go with a knight to d5 square. So notice also here black has very bad bishop on e7 because all his pawns are blocking it. Next example. In this position, let's figure out how can black create or get control over weak square. The d4 square is not weak yet because it can be controlled by one of the white's pawn on c file. It's c2 pawn. So in order to let's say take away his possibility to control that square, black should first take the knight on b3. Bishop takes on b3, and after pawn takes, he needs to take it back. Now black can gain control over d4 square with a knight after playing knight to e6. Now knight is trying to go to d4, and there's no way for white to stop it, and there's no way for white to try to chase this knight away. Let's say the rook c1, we just play c5, defending our c7 pawn. And on the next move, we just jump to d4. So knight will dominate in this position because it makes all white pieces, two rooks, bishop, really passive because of four possibilities, and also it will attack very important squares. On a2, c2, b3, f3. So all of this very important squares. The last example, in this position, there is a weak square we have on d5, but before we control that square with our knight, before getting knight to the very nice square, we need to first remove the knight. The reason why we should do it, because if we play knight d5 right away, the black can just play knight to b6 and try to exchange knights. So it'll be still good for white even after this to play, for example, rook d1, and if he takes, we can just take it back with our queen to have our queen on that square. But queen is not the knight. Like knight is the best square to be on the outpost. That's why we're not going to exchange knights. Instead of this, we first need to remove the knight. And luckily, we have very nice move bishop to h3. So after bishop h3, black cannot avoid exchanging bishop for a knight because we are pinning this knight. Behind the knight we have rook. So moving the knight away is not safe. Bishop just will take the rook. And let's say if they play rook to c6, he removed the rook. Now he wants to play knight here, but white will capture it right away. After rook takes, now we can jump on to d5, and now we see difference of the position. So we see the black playing has really bad bishop here behind of the pawns, and the rooks are not that great. Well, white knight is enjoying that square on d5, and also white can create battery on this d file and attack against the weak pawns. So this is about weak squares, and thank you for watching.